अथ द्वितीयोऽध्यायः। संजय उवाच तं तथा कृपयाविष्टम् अश्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्षणम् विषेदन्तमिदं वाक्यम् उवाच मधुसूदनः।
Arjuna was in a state of confusion. He was very indecisive about what is appropriate, what is sacred, and what is sinful. His heart filled with compassion, his eyes filled with tears of grief. His looks were sympathetic, which seemed like a deluge of tragedy. This is delusion, an effect of Rajoguna. Similar to the way Sri Krishna killed the demon Madhu, the same Sri Krishna who suppresses the delusion called Rajoguna in his devotees is Madhusudana too. To suppress delusion in Arjuna, Sri Krishna started saying,
Shri Bhagavanuvacha कुतस्त्वा कश्मलमिदं विषमे समुपस्थितम् अनार्यजुष्टमस्वर्ग्यम् अकीर्तिकरमर्जुन.
Standing in the middle of the battlefield, between two armies facing each other, having blown the conches, holding the arrows high, ready to attack each other and in a state of distress. What happened to you, Arjuna? From where had this evil and highly shameful grief come upon you? Hey Arjuna, you should have thought about this before the war began, not now. However, it is not for a person of your stature to lament. It is for cowards. It is for insane people. One who thinks before he acts is called Arya, that is sane person. And one who does not think before he acts is called Anarya, that is insensitive, isn't it? An Anarya is a dishonorable man. Beware, only insensitive and thoughtless people shall feel happy seeing you in distress. Sensible people will only regret, they will repent. You're thinking about hell because of war and heaven if you stop the war, but you would still reach hell if you stop the war for reasons of grief and sorrow. You're thinking you would be famous if you stop the crime, but if you stop the war because of sorrow, all you will attain is disrepute.
क्लैब्यं मास्मगमः पार्थ नैतत्त्वयि उपपद्यते क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं त्यक्त्वोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप.
No one in Prithu dynasty knows what cowardice is. Do not let fear come anywhere near you. It is against the principles of Prithu dynasty. Your splendor is enough for your enemies to be reduced to ashes. You are destroying that glorious splendor because of your distraught mind. Leave behind the sorrow that destroys your soul. Get up, Arjuna. Get up and fight the war.
अर्जुन उवाच कथं भीष्ममहं संख्ये द्रोणं च मधुसूदन इषुभिः प्रतियोत्स्यामि पूजार्हा वरिसूदन.
Hey Krishna, I only heard you kill demons, not our own kinsmen. I also know you only kill the enemies of the devotees, but not their masters. Drona is my master, Bhishma is my great-grandfather, Is it right for you to ask me to kill these two? You haven't killed Sandeepa's and others' masters. You revered them and adored them florally. For me, Drona and Bhishma are venerable persons too. How can you ask me to oppose and fight them with bow and arrows? Is it proper for you, Krishna? How can I fight this war?
गुरून् हत्वा हि महानुभावान् श्रेयो भोक्तुम् भैक्षमपीह लोके हत्वार्थकामास्तु गुरूनिहैव भुञ्जीय भोगान् रुधिरप्रदिग्धान्.
Bhishma, Drona, and others like them are elders, greatly virtuous and powerful. Instead of enjoying the royal luxuries of the kingdom by killing them, I would rather leave them like that. It is better to wander in a forest and live on the alms of food. The reason being, Bhishma and Drona may not be desirous of the kingdom and its royal luxuries on their own. Nevertheless, they are on the side of the one who is aspiring for them. That is, for being on the side of Duryodhana, the one who is troubled by his desire for kingdom and the royal luxuries, that Bhishma and Drona too are guilty of the same sin. Their death in this war is certain. Subsequently, while enjoying the luxuries, the same luxuries which were previously enjoyed by them in our position, it lingers in our mind. Killed in the war, we can see their blood-stained bodies. Those luxuries are soaked in blood. They are despicable and bring only grief. How can I enjoy those luxuries soaked in blood because of war?
न चैतद्विद्मत्कतरन्नो गरीयः यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः तेव स्थिताः प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः.
Is it good to fight the war, or is it good to stop the war? We are not able to comprehend, Krishna, what is appropriate. Isn't it difficult, Krishna, to tell who will win? We or Kauravas, in case the war does happen. We cannot tolerate even a second without being in the company of our brothers. How can we kill those brothers? Can we live without them, Krishna? But Kauravas, the children of my uncle themselves, are ready for the fight, standing right opposite us in the battlefield, either to kill or be killed. I find this very difficult, Krishna.
कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यां निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम्.
My heart is mourning in distress as I keep thinking about death of our relatives, destruction of our dynasty. Unable to differentiate between virtue and vice, my mind is numbed. Cowardice has crept into me, and I am not able to decide what needs to be done and what needs to be stopped. That is the reason, Krishna, I am asking you. Please advise me on what I need to do for my welfare in the situation that I am in. Explain, Krishna, what do the Shastras say and what was our ancestors' decision on this? Am I not your disciple? You are the only one capable to set me in order. Krishna, apart from setting me in order, I am seeking your refuge. Enlighten and rectify me, Krishna. Tell me all the secrets to be able to fulfill my responsibilities.
नहि प्रपश्यामि ममापनुद्यात् यच्छोकमुच्छोषणमिन्द्रियाणाम् अवाप्य भूमावसपत्नमृद्धम् राज्यं सुराणामपि चाधिपत्यम्.
Sri Krishna, all my organs are dehydrated, causing deep anguish because of my grief. I am unable to find a way out of this. What do I need to do to come over this grief? Is it by killing all enemies through the horrible war to rule this land to be free from foes and free from all danger? Or is it by stopping this war, drop all weapons and get killed by Kauravas to rule the heaven? I don't feel my grief will end even by obtaining the kingdom or attaining the heaven.
सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा हृषीकेशं गुडाकेशः परन्तप न योत्स्य इति गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः.
Arjuna is Gudakesh. Gudakesh means a hero who has overcome laziness and slumber. He is capable of making his rivals defenseless with his audacity. Yet, Sri Krishna is Rishikesh, isn't it? Rishikesh means organs that give us pleasure and delight. Sri Krishna is the Lord of all creation. He is the master and controller of organs of all living beings. Subsequently, he is Govinda, because Krishna is the one who liberated Gobhumi, the land of cows, from the burden of wind, the wicked people, and bestowed happiness. Sri Krishna lived up to the name Govinda by provoking one individual through whom he destroyed wicked people and bestowed Gobhumi with happiness and comfort. Now, having decided to make Arjuna an implement in this war, he became a charioteer. Ignorant of this fact, Arjuna perhaps is of the wrong notion that he can fight or stop the war by himself. In front of the Lord himself, Arjuna indulges in meaningless talk, at the end of which he says, "I will not fight the war," and collapses silently. How surprising! If Arjuna says he will stop the war, can he stop it? Can he fight if he wants to fight? Everything happens exactly the way Sri Krishna thinks, isn't it?
तमुवाच हृषीकेशः प्रहसन्निव भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये विषीदन्तमिदं वचः.
Great King Dhritarashtra, you are a paragon of Bharata clan. Arjuna, in spite of being a great warrior, is inappropriately lamenting, standing in the middle of the two armies. Is it not an offense for a brave man like Arjuna to mourn amidst others? To make Arjuna turn towards his responsibility, Krishna effortlessly started speaking, spoke amusingly like a friend. We know Sri Krishna is Rishikesh. The organs of the entire army, 18 Akshohinis, were made still like photographs by Sri Krishna. But the organs of Arjuna instead of showing courage, were made to grieve. As though to rid Arjuna of his sorrow, Krishna, who wanted to preach Jnanamruta, that is knowledge of truth, eternal truth, for the safety and protection of Dharma and the world, started his discourse.
श्रीभगवानुवाच अशोच्यानन्वशोचस्त्वम् प्रज्ञावादांश्च भाषसे गतासु न गतासूंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पंडिताः.
Arjuna, till now you have been lamenting about what is not worth to grieve over. All the great soldiers standing here possess both the material body and the soul. If you had known this, you wouldn't have asked the question, how to kill a kinsman. However, you're talking about attaining hell, presenting and accepting the ritualistic offerings to the deceased forefathers by the immediate surviving family members. You're talking like the one who knows the fact that the material body is different from the soul. Of the two, the body and the soul, whatever the body does, you cannot retain the soul forever. The one which loses life and perishes is the material body. Soul has nothing to do with life. Therefore, it will never happen that the soul would lose its life. Wise people with knowledge of the soul will never mourn either about life or about death like you are doing.
नत्वेवाहं जातु नासं न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपाः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम्.
Arjuna, I am the Supreme Soul. I existed in the past. I exist in the present, and I shall exist in future too. Similarly, your soul being different from mine existed in the past, and you shall exist in future too. It is same with all humans, amongst whom there are kings, servants, called so depending on their actions, deeds and responsibilities. They too existed in the past, exist in the present, and will exist in future. What you need to understand from this is the difference between all humans and the Supreme Soul. The Supreme Soul, that is me. Amongst human beings also, there is a difference between each other. In this loka, the word exists is used, not does not exist. Sri Krishna had established the eternal nature of the soul and the difference between the living beings and the supreme and eternity of souls by showing himself as an example. It is with this sloka that the discourse of Bhagavad Gita begins.
देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यते.
Arjuna, what you put on is called physical body. Physical body is one with a property of growth when you are in it. One with a property of deterioration is called material body. The first stage of the body is that of a boy. The next stage is of youth, then of old age. But the soul inside you remains the same. There is no change in the soul. The body transforms itself, leaving the previous state to that of a new one. You're not mourning this change. You're also not trying to stop this change. You're accepting it as a physical principle and feeling happy about it. You are awaiting the change. Similarly, transformation of the outlook from the old to the new one is only natural. You cannot stop it. You should not lament about it. This change is the one you need to be happily awaiting for. Life and death are for your body, not for the soul. Living the present body is called death, and putting on the new body is called birth. A wise man will never unite the principles of the changing body with the soul, which never changes. He will not lament that the soul perishes. He will have no apprehensions.
Matra sparshastu kaunteya Shitoshna sukha dukkadaha Agamapayino nityaha Tanstitikshasva bharata.
Arjuna, you are son of Kunti, mother of champions. A person of your status should not grieve the loss of kinsmen. The minute particles of 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and the sky are called matras or tanmatras. These tanmatras give organs the sense of perception, which is what is called matra perceptions. The minute particles of these 5 attributes of smell, taste, sight, touch, and sound are also called tanmatras. The organs which grasp these tanmatras are in the material body. Nose grasps smell, tongue feels the taste, eyes see the shape, skin feels the touch, and ears grasp the sound. The feel of tanmatras by the organs is called sense of perception. The objects of sense, on reaching their respective organs, depending on the nature, transmit the effect like heat by fire and cold by water. These effects may result in ecstasy or agony, which vary from person to person, the action involved, and the nature of the body. They will never be the same for all. As long as the body exists, these effects keep recurring. We are not running away from these effects. We are enduring them. We are following the material properties of the body. Arjuna, the duty of your body is to punish the villains and to destroy them. To destroy them, you need to fight this war of dharma for upholding the moral principles. Arjuna, you are the paragon of Bharata clan. The unification or loss of kinsmen and the resultant ecstasies and agonies that this war causes are very short-lived. Realize this fact and get accustomed to its reality. Do not mourn, Arjuna.
Yam hinam vyatayam kyete Purusham purusharshabha Samadukha sukham dhiram Tumratatvaya kalpate.
Hey Arjuna, you are an eminent man. You cannot avoid your experiences that may or may not be favorable to you. Experiences caused by matter. Tolerating the pain and fatigue of summer and rains has become a habit. Similarly, joy and distress of losing kinsmen in the war is only temporary. Face it with courage. Sense of perception will not affect a person who faces joy or distress with equanimity. A person who practices this golden act of endurance and equanimity is the one who will attain the essence of all-pervading eternity. That's why, Arjuna, practice tolerance. Reach for eternity.
नासतो विद्यते भावः नाभावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तः त्वनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः.
Arjuna, Sat means a thing in one form that never changes, and that is soul, Atma. That which is not a soul is that which changes its form, and that is Asat, that is material body. The body is produced by nature or elements. It will not remain imperishable whatever one may do. The soul, which is in the form of sacred wisdom, will never perish whatever one may try. Soul is everlasting. Soul is eternal. The natural property of the soul is sattva. Sattva means that which will not perish, and the body is asattva, meaning that which perishes. The essence of these two things had been seen by the great Maharshis like Parashara, and this fact had been determined long back.
अविनाशिषु तद्विद्धि येन सर्वमिदं ततं विनाशमव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति.
I will tell you the reason for the soul being indestructible and everlasting. Any object, to destroy another object, it has to penetrate and then destroy. Souls are the tiniest things. They can penetrate any minutest particle. But there is nothing tinier than the soul. The soul has the power to penetrate anything in nature. Hence, all material bodies created by nature are perishable and not the soul. All things have an opportunity or a chance to let the soul in, but the soul has no chance to let anything into it. Hence, it is indestructible. The reason why even a most poisonous weapon also cannot do nothing to the soul.
अन्तवन्त इमे देहाः नित्यस्योक्ता शरीरिणः अनाशिनोत्प्रमेयस्य तस्माद्युध्यस्व भारत.
Do you know the reason why the bodies perish? Material body is one which grows. It is the one which deteriorates. The material bodies have physical properties that can be seen, which means it is an assemblage or union of some objects. That which is produced with union of a few objects eventually disintegrates and perishes. The bodies cannot escape from being perishable. Similarly, that which grows is certainly a union of some organs. All bodies are composite parts and cannot escape being perishable. Unlike a body, soul is not produced and has no growth. Hence, it is everlasting. To experience the karma, the consequential results of his actions, the soul assumed a relationship with the body. The soul resides in that body. That is the reason why he is an embodied soul. Unlike a material body, which is a union of organs, the soul is a singular organ, the reason why there is no question of the soul perishing. It is imperishable. Moreover, all the material bodies are known to be objects that can experience the pleasures of life as fruits of their action. They are known to be objects of pleasure. Therefore, they are called subjects of knowledge. Contrary to material bodies, the soul is known to be the one to experience the fruits of actions and is called inscrutable or impenetrable. He is called Pramata, which means one who wants to know what it is to experience or what it is to enjoy. This makes it clear that the soul is imperishable, unlike a material body. Why grieve it? Arjuna, do not worry. Have no doubts, Arjuna. Fight the war with Kauravas.
य एनं वेत्ति हन्तारम् यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतः नायं हन्ति न हन्यते.
It has been proved that the soul is an everlasting singular organ. It is stupidity on one's part to think that the soul, with the aid of weapons, would kill someone. Similarly, it is insane too to think that the soul would be killed by anyone with the help of any weapon. Both are insane and ignorant of the true nature of the soul. The one who thinks the soul would kill anyone, or the one who thinks the soul would be killed, both are insane. If the soul has to be killed, the weapons need to penetrate into it to destroy. No weapon can penetrate it, as the soul is the tiniest of things. Therefore, there is no object that can destroy the soul. Atomic in size, there is no object that is smaller than the soul. The reason why it can't be killed, it doesn't die too.
न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
I don't need to prove the fact that the souls do not possess the principles of change the material bodies have. It is a well-known fact of Katha Upanishad. These souls do not have birth. They don't have growth and they don't get aged. But in all material bodies, divine, human, animal, and plants, change is inevitable. Brahma and Rudra of the divine world will retain their material bodies from creation of this world to the end of this world. The rest all will come into being and perish in between. But the souls in the material bodies would remain from creation of the world to the end of it and beyond. The soul is called Ajudu because it does not have birth, it does not have age, and has no death. He is eternal. He will remain in the past, he will remain in the present, and he will remain in future. He does not undergo change. Either the knowledge or experience of the soul will be new. The material bodies obtained through karma as a consequence of one's actions may be hurt and injured, but the soul that resides in it will not. They cannot be killed.
Veda vinashinam nityam ya enamajamau vyayam katham sapurusha partha kanghatayati hantikam.
Arjuna, you are born in Prithu dynasty, a family of wise men. Do not lose knowledge. Souls are indestructible, eternal, and everlasting. They are not governed by the laws of the past, present, and future, and are free from birth and death, and they possess a firm state. One who knows this fact will never attempt to get the souls to be killed by any kind of weapons. Even in an act of war, he will not try to destroy the souls by himself. A wise man will neither get the soul killed by someone nor kill it himself in any war, but will only kill the sinful body. Unaware of the true state of the soul, you have a misconception that you are destroying Bhishma and Drona's souls and are grieving about it. Quit the thought, Arjuna.
Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani gृह्णाति naro parani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi.
A sane person will renounce the flabby and worn-out clothes and put on useful and suitable new clothes again. He will not worry either about renouncing the old or receiving the new clothes. He will be happy. Similarly, a material body that is obtained to experience the karma will be counted as a dilapidated one, irrespective of its age once the karma is experienced. It will not be fit to experience one more karma. It has to renounce the old and attain a new, suitable body to experience the new karma. This is a war for dharma. It has been decided that all those skilled in this war would attain beautiful bodies. Therefore, do not think you will not attain the body. Do not worry that the soul will be annihilated in the final destruction. Don't be anxious that the present body will attain the body of a bird or a tree if you do attain a body. Arjuna, you don't need to worry. You are grieving instead of rejoicing to fight this war.
Nainam chindamti shastrani nainam dahati pavakaha na chainam kledayam tyapaha na shoshayati marutaha.
A destructive object needs to penetrate into an object that is to be destroyed to display its force. That is the principle. Because the soul is the smallest of all things in the universe, nothing can penetrate into it. A sword cannot cut the soul. Fire cannot burn it. Water cannot soak it, and air cannot dry it up. A sword, fire, water, and air are incapable of showing their power of strength on the soul.
Achedyoyam adahyoyam akledyo shoshya evacha nityattaruvagatasthānuh achaloyam sanatanaha.
The form of the soul, the Atma, is such that no object can influence it. It is such that it cannot be cut cannot be burnt, soaked, or dried up because it is eternal. It is so minute, it is all-pervading. It can get into anything. Its form is changeless, firm, steady, and impassive. It has no beginning. It is infinite.
Avyaktoyamachintyoyam avikaryoyamuchyate tasmadevam viditvainam nanushochitumarhasi.
Unlike other objects, the soul is beyond perception of sensual organs. Sensual organs like eyes. It is not possible even for the mind to imagine the form or state of the soul. Organs of action cannot cause any change of form to the soul. This is what our Shastras proclaim. Such is the state of the soul, Arjuna. Realize this fact, Arjuna, and stop lamenting.
Atha chainam nityajatam nityam va manyase mritam tathapi tvam mahabaho naivam shochitumarthasi.
Some people do not accept that the soul is imperceptible and beyond imagination of organs of sense and organs of action. They have an illusion that the material body itself is the soul. Such people are reliant on their physical strength and disregard our Shastras. I think you too have such an illusion, Arjuna, when you said, I am killing these people. They are of the opinion that souls forever go through the cycle of birth and death. You too are subjected to such wrong thoughts. There is no need to grieve. You are a valiant and courageous person with great strength. War will only bring happiness to a person like you, Arjuna.